Coming up on our news tonight, NIB still heading towards depletion. Our Jerome Sawyer speaks with a top government official in Rwanda. Plus, good news for Grand Bahamas courts. A speech-to-text feature is explained by the project consultant. And lions, tigers, and giraffes. Our Jerome Sawyer takes you on African safari. Stay tuned. Our news begins right now. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Candino Knowles. The balancing act continuing at the National Insurance Board to keep the fund afloat. NIB pays everything from retirement funds to death benefits, industrial accidents to unemployment, and continues to pay out far more than it takes in. The minister responsible for NIB was among a delegation of ministers in Kigali, Rwanda for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Our news asked State Minister Myles Lorota what is being done to address the hemorrhaging at NIB.
The Prime Minister have said, he's the leader of the government, that an increase is not imminent right now, is his exact words. We are still in a dire situation as it relates to the National Insurance Board. The reality is we're paying out much more than we're taking in, and the last actuarial report is stating unless something changes within immediately, that we're going to be looking at the fund being dissolved within the next 6 years. And so at National Insurance, the managing director, Ms. Sonia Gill, along with her executive team, the chairman and the board, along with myself, are trying to find ways of which we can increase revenue.
With no taxes on the horizon to support the fund, Minister Lorota says the reality is the fund will be depleted without some source of funding.
We need to be creative, but we need to face the reality, and that is, unless this matter is addressed and relatively soon, that we're looking at depletion, and that fund will only be supplemented by the taxpayer, the Bahamas government. And so while we hear what the Prime Minister is saying, we all who are fortunate to serve in his government supports him. We are going to try to find innovative ways, but that reality that the fund is just blowing through cash is a reality that we must pay attention to also.
A speech-to-text feature touted by the Chief Justice was expected to be rolled out in some courts last week. Consultant on the project, Ken Cook, explaining how the technology is expected to help deliver swift justice in the Bahamas.
The idea is that the quicker information can be shared, the faster things can be moved through the justice system, the quicker people's cases can be heard and resolved, and they move forward.
Cook, who you just heard from, was recently in Grand Bahama teaching and training court staff on the ins and outs of the program. He says the entire system is already up and running. All that's left is for court staff to begin using it. So, how does it work?
It uses the microphones to pick up the voice. It takes that voice and stores it onto a computer hard drive, which is basically recording. And then once that information is in digital format, you can do a lot of things with it. All this information will be stored securely, but also they're planning to implement a speech-to-text feature, which is very exciting for the judiciary, because what will happen is automatically this recorded information is going to be converted into what they call a rough transcript. It's not a verbatim transcript which has everything set up the way it's supposed to in terms of all the words and other people, but it's going to have a lot of information associated with it that can be used to locate this information down the road.
Now, that cloud storage feature is expected to make a big impact on the local judicial system, providing an extra layer of protection against natural disasters. And details about a new health program for legal officers revealed in the Senate this week by Attorney General Ryan Pinder. In his contribution to debate on the 2022-2023 budget in the Senate this week, Pinder describing the program as long overdue and more than necessary to retain staff.
I am pleased to announce, Mr. Vice President, that the Cabinet has approved a contributory health insurance program for legal officers. This is important in retaining our officers, our attorneys, and becoming attractive in the recruitment of additional attorneys. I thank this New Day government for this commitment and for satisfying a long-standing request of legal officers and magistrates within the service.
Pinder says gone are the days when attorneys, magistrates, and legal officers will be without health coverage.
We also recognize the importance of providing the necessary benefits to legal officers. Legal officers in the public service, inclusive of magistrates, have been advocating for years for a contributory health insurance program. Lawyers in the Office of the Attorney General do not have health insurance provided by the government. Magistrates don't have health insurance provided by the government. This is important, and other areas within the service have this benefit.
Now, the new fiscal budget was passed in the Senate this week and will come into effect on July 1st. Well, coming up in our world news segment, the United States Supreme Court reversing a 50-year-old practice, banning abortion and causing an uproar with American feminists. And as a result of an accident, a woman develops a speech disorder. We'll find out how she's coping. It's all coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
Ever heard of the Service Tank Bahamas app? Well, it was developed by a young Bahamian and enables anyone to search for any charitable or purpose-driven organization and volunteer. Our Sasha Lightbourne spoke with the app developer.
So Service Tank is a mobile app that was developed out of necessity in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and Hurricane Dorian. It was funded by the U.S. Embassy with the goal to simply give everyday Bahamian people the opportunity to give back. And essentially, it just shows you what organizations are out there doing what work and when. And at the click of a finger, you can find out more information and get involved in making a difference in the community.
That was Stefan Evans, creator behind the Service Tank Bahamas app. And he shares what's the inspiration behind the app.
I have worked in the nonprofit sector my entire career. I've traveled a lot of the country and seen a lot of the challenges faced by Bahamian people. And I realized that there are a lot of us out there who get passionate and want to make a difference, but we can't do it on our own. It can't be instances where you have one or two heroes in every community trying to save the world. So I thought that, interestingly enough, before I knew there was an opportunity with the embassy, I wrote a plan on what getting other everyday Bahamian people giving back, serving, and volunteering would look like. And it was the app. And so the hope is that it would inspire and make more convenient opportunities for everyday people to get out there and to make a difference in the lives of our brothers and our sisters.
He also shared his feelings when he found out that Minister of Youth Mario Bowleg spoke about Service Tank in an address he gave at the Commonwealth Youth Forum in Kigali, Rwanda, earlier this week.
It felt incredible, especially next to Braun, which is such an innovative new business. I'm actually coming off of parental leave, so I have a newborn at home, and I was just taking a break from being overwhelmed by everything. And when I got messages from my friends saying that my business venture was mentioned, it just felt amazing, and it gave me the zeal, because it's been really difficult to keep initiatives that thrive off of being on the ground active. During the COVID-19 pandemic, it's been a challenge, but sometimes recognition does go a long way.
The Service Tank app is available on the Android and Apple stores. Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks a lot, Sasha. And to learn more about that app, visit Our News Bahamas on Facebook. Well, the United States Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade on Friday, holding that there is no longer a federal constitutional right for women to have an abortion. This causing outrage across the United States, with countless women expressing that they should have the right to make their own decisions when it comes to their bodies. The general consensus is that this is the most consequential Supreme Court decision made in decades and will transform the landscape of women's reproductive health in America. With the nation shocked at the decision of the court, President Biden making these remarks.
Today is it's not hyperbole to suggest a very solemn moment. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States expressly took away a constitutional right from the American people that it had already recognized. They didn't limit it, they simply took it away. That's never been done to a right so important to so many Americans, but they did it. It's a sad day for the court and for the country. 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade was decided and has been the law of the land since then. This landmark case protected women's right to choose.
Now, unless Congress acts, and quickly, going forward, abortion rights will be determined by states. Already, nearly half of the states have or will pass laws that ban abortion. President Biden continuing.
The court laid out state laws criminalizing abortion that go back to the 1800s as rationale. The court literally taking America back 150 years. This is a sad day for the country, in my view. But it doesn't mean the fight's over. Let me be very clear and unambiguous. The only way we can secure a woman's right to choose and the balance that existed is for Congress to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade as federal law.
All right, when our news comes back from the break, Rev continuing its corporate duty, this time treating kids to a movie night. And ever been on a safari? If you haven't, no problem. Stay tuned. Dr. Jerome Sawyer takes you along for the ride. This is our news. We'll be back.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Salute.
This is our news. Welcome back. A 47-year-old woman is coping with a rare speech disorder that not only changed how she speaks, but how she views herself. Christina Dragovich has her story tonight.
Denise Thurston will always remember December 19th, 2021, the day her life and her speech changed forever.
I see me, but I don't hear me.
Thurston was involved in a car crash in December 2021. The vehicle was totaled and she lost consciousness. When Thurston woke up, something was different.
After the accident, several days later, I started speaking with a different accent.
Neurosurgeon Dr. Magnus Ekedede confirmed the diagnosis. According to the letter issued by Dr. Magnus on January 28, 2022, a few days after Thurston's accident, her speech changed intonation from Bahamian to British, which is known as foreign accent syndrome. A month later, the Public Hospitals Authority confirmed Thurston's final diagnosis was road traffic accident with mild traumatic brain injury, with the medical chief of staff noting the contents of the report were accurate to the best of her knowledge and belief. How drastic is the accent difference? Thurston shared a video taken sometime before the accident.
Don't get your designer scarf then. Listen, y'all, with those lace fronts, y'all gonna want to get these scarves, because right now, these running the road down.
Thurston says recovery has been a challenge, with some questioning if the accent is fake.
I wouldn't lie to you and say it is easy. It has much challenges, much frustration for me and my family, because they now have to accept this new identity that I'm dealing with, myself and me, who don't even know how to accept it for myself. It's such a challenge. I don't know who I am. I'm saying I'm this person, my identity is a Bahamian, but to others, I identify me as someone from London or the United Kingdom.
Now, Thurston has been in Florida for 3 months for treatment and knows the road ahead will be long as her body works to heal. But she's using her experience as a testimony that anything can happen.
If I don't get it back, I can still speak. I can still speak for people to understand me, even though they laugh at me with the accent, because you know how Bahamians go. They go over to speaking a language, then you're so polite overnight.
A Souse Out is being held on July 2nd to help Thurston with those medical and therapy expenses. Visit the Our News Facebook page for more information. Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Thanks a lot, Christina. Well, Popcorn and Sonic the Hedgehog. Primary school students were recently treated to a special movie night after a year of impressive grades. The movie night, sponsored by Rev and Fusion Superplex, honors the primary school students of the year. Rev TV and marketing manager Mikkel Ferguson and Rev senior commercial director Odette Carey Russell says the students deserve to kick back and enjoy the night.
Have a fun night, get a little stress-free so you don't have to worry too much about tomorrow. But again, we just want to welcome you to Fusion, our partners here, and Rev as the title sponsor of the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year.
Coming into the 5th year, let's make it fun for the kids. They've done a lot of hard work to get to this point, and we also want to celebrate with them.
Wow, looks like fun. Well, Vice President of the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year, Cece Lafleur, says Rev has helped to make the experience fun and enjoyable for the students after working hard all year long.
We're so appreciative. Rev came on a few years ago. It's one of our title sponsors. They have really stepped up to the plate and without a doubt said, let's host them in some fun, engaging activity.
All right, the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year has awarded $1.5 million in scholarships and prizes to hundreds of students since 1997. Well, I see rain and more rain in our future, but hey, I'm not a weatherman. Well, the official weather forecast will tell you just what's coming up for the next 5 days. And our Jerome Sawyer has been on African safari. It's all coming up when Our News returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Salute.
Welcome back to Our News. Rainy days are predicted for the next few days, but let's get the exact details in the weather forecast. All right, well, Africa, known as the motherland, is rich in culture, history, and natural resources. The continent also home to many of the world's animal species. Our Jerome Sawyer has spent the last week in the Central African state of Rwanda. He, along with Our News cameraman Taran Knowles, decided to take us, or give us a treat, that is, to an African safari through their lenses.
The day begins with a 5:45 pickup from our hotel in Kigali. Our driver George is on time, ready and waiting to take us on the journey. It's a 3-hour drive out of the city of Kigali and into the eastern province, the largest in Rwanda. It's a stark variation from what we've seen all week. It's rural territory, farmland. Along the way, farmers are transporting goods to market. It's a long drive over many hills and around steep curves and lots of pedestrians. At times, we near the border with Uganda and Tanzania. Eventually, we arrive at the Akagera National Park. Akagera has 500 species of birds and 11 species of wildlife. This is also home to the Big Five: lions, elephants, buffaloes, rhinos, and leopards. Called the Big Five because they are the hardest 5 species to hunt. Our driver George is now our official park guide. Akajira isn't just home to animals. There are 10 lakes, 3 campsites, and 4 lodges. We embark on a 5-hour tour of this magnificent park. Our very first sighting is an impala. It's a male, only the male species have horns. He seemingly poses for our cameras, obviously accustomed to the annoying tourists.
The impalas, see they have red time at the back, which means McDonald's for lions.
Next, we come across a group of sunbathing hippopotamuses. We soon find out they are the world's deadliest large land mammal, killing an estimated 500 people a year in Africa.
They can run 30 kilometers per hour.
So they run pretty fast.
Yeah, that is one of the animals that kills many people in Africa.
Really?
There goes the notion of the happy hippos. It's not long before we come upon the first of the Big Five. A rare sighting, I am told. 2 lions nestled in the shade of some trees. They appear unfazed, but we're told they're watching us closely. They hunt for only about 2 hours a day, usually at night and early morning. The rest of the day, they lounge or sleep. Our guide says they are the laziest species in the park. After hours within the lush forest, we enter the savanna, a wide open space with short grass. It's a favorite among many animals here because they can see approaching predators, and the grazing grass is good here. The savanna is home to warthogs and gazelles as well. These driving paths are a favorite for zebras. We must stop often for zebra crossings. The feisty, one-of-a-kind, 4-legged animals are easily frightened, but still take their time in getting out of the way. From the moment we see the lone elephant in the distance, we are excited. Even at a safe distance, our guide is closely watching, as they are known to charge without warning.
This is an African elephant. He's coming this way.
It's a false alarm, and we move on. As we come almost to the end of the trail, it's a moment I've been waiting for the entire trip. The majestic giraffes. These gentle giants watch with curiosity as we exit our Jeep for an up-close and personal experience, within reason, of course. For this reporter, it's a magical and comical moment.
So this is a picnic area, wide open. It's designated as a picnic area because it's open and pretty much safe. And you can see while you're having lunch if you are about to become lunch. Of course, my favorites are in the background. Hey, y'all.
While they go to great lengths to protect these animals in their natural habitats, the park workers provide no assistance to the sick, injured, or dying. I am told they will simply allow nature to take its course. A perimeter fence keeps the animals in and the neighbors and their crops protected. From Kigali, Rwanda, for our news, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
All right, what a story and what a sight, Jerome. We can't wait to welcome you back so that you can tell us all of the stories from Rwanda. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Candino Knowles. Continue to enjoy your weekend.